What's up, guys? Adrian Conway here, and we are back. Week 2 of the Open. 22.2 has been announced, and we got to watch 2 heats of one of males, one of females go through the workout. And I wanted to give you guys the tips and tricks this week, at least personally from my advice and standpoint on this workout. Now, the workout is a couplet. Surprise, surprise, we're getting variance in regards to energy system and movement selection, but we've got a couplet. We've got deadlifts and we've got bar facing burpees. Now, this isn't something I can say that I actually saw coming, primarily because of the fact that I thought for sure we'd be squatting something below parallel. So we know we'll certainly be moving some kind of load up and down in the final week of the Open next week for 22.3. But to get into the crux of this workout, the workout itself for 22.2 is 1 deadlift, 1 bar facing burpee, 2 and 2, 3 and 3, 4 and 4. We continue to ascend the ladder until we get to 10 and 10, and then we descend the ladder and go all the way back down to 1 and 1 4 times. So it is a 1 up to 10, back down to 1 ladder. Now, the unique thing about that is there is, of course, a time cap. It's 10 minutes. Now, initially, as we start to watch athletes go through this, the early stages of the workout, basically round 1 all the way through round 7 or 8, the time cap seems like it's very generous. You're like, oh my goodness, this workout is going to go by so fast. But the truth is that that's not necessarily the case. And especially for depending on what variation of the workout you are, where you categorize yourself as an athlete. Are you an everyday athlete? Are you a tier athlete when it comes to you're right there on the cusp of qualifying for quarterfinals as a top 10% percentage? Or are you an elite? Of course, we can expect that the elites are going to be finishing this workout, and they'll do so, many of them in under 9 minutes or so. And then, of course, the cusp athletes are going to be those that are deep into the workout but not really finishing, mainly with a few rounds left, probably 5 and beyond. And then, of course, the everyday athlete's going to fall somewhere between hopefully getting through their first block of 10 and beginning the descent of the workout. But it's important to do this. I'm going to first and foremost start you guys through the warm-up. So we've got some really general blood flow prep. I'm going to suggest that you hop on a rower and do some rowing intervals. The first thing is going to be, hey, get your heart rate up. We want to make sure that we spike or break the CO with your breathing and blood flow so that we're primed for the way fatigue is going to build and the way it's going to feel in this particular workout. Essentially, I suggest you hop on the rower for about 2 to 3 minutes, easy, nice and steady, and then you start to do some bouts of intervals where we get our heart rate up, pull on the rower with some power for about 20 seconds, and then recover and row very easily for 40 seconds. We'll do this for 3 to 5 intervals, depending on how much you need to feel primed and feel prepped. After we get that blood flow going, then we're going to work through a lot of posterior chain mobilization, and the reason is because this is going to be a huge hinging exercise or hinging workout where we are going to have a lot of demand on our glutes, our hamstrings, and our lower back. So we've got a series of movements that are as follows: inchworms, hip down push-ups to prime us for the burpees. Then we've got Spider-Man with the twist to kind of get some traction in that spine and get some twisting going on. We've got shoulder taps to really activate our core and make sure that we're primed and our shoulders are prepped. We'll go through a couple rounds of that. Then we'll get into some empty barbell work to really prime ourselves for a lot of up and down moving and cycling with the bar, specifically in the form of touch and go reps for the vast majority of us. Then we're going to prime ourselves and build to the working weight of our deadlift. Now, if you go into our blog and you look in this warm-up specifically, you can also go beyond the workout weight, meaning that this primes a lot of athletes, particularly athletes that they know they want that 225 to feel extra light. They like the way it feels when it's snappy and their central nervous system is primed for even a heavier load. So if you want to build up to 255, 275 for a single or a couple touch and go deadlifts before you cool down and get back to the workout weight and start the workout, that's okay. I've done that a lot of times throughout my history as an athlete, and I even coach some of my athletes to do so. So feel free to do that. Then we want to start with a small bout where we're going to spike our heart rate, practice the movements specifically in this workout. And what I have programmed is that we're going to do 3 deadlifts into 3 bar-facing burpees, 5 deadlifts into 5 bar-facing burpees, and we're going to do that at workout speed. And then we're going to rest 3 to 5 minutes before we attack this thing. The lesson is, in your warm-up, make sure that your lower back, your glutes, and your hamstrings are primed and ready, and make sure that your midline is also ready. Feel free to spend time mobilizing and stretching out your hip flexors. We're going to spend a lot of time hinged over and bent and with a closed hip angle, and so we need to make sure that those muscles are relaxed as well. Some considerations. Is 225 and 155 heavy for you as an individual? If it is, what you have to do out the gate is plan to break up the reps. And when will that happen? In this, the notes, if you pay attention to the blog, I have choose rest before rest chooses you. In this workout, people that go fast, yes, they will stay moving the entire time. But in this workout, people that don't finish and people who are close to breaking through those latter rounds of this workout, those cusp athletes out there and even the everyday athletes, it's important that you minimize the time that you're standing still or that bar is not moving. Of course, you can always do another burpee. I'm going to encourage most of you, when it's time for you to rest on the ground in the bottom part of that burpee, and then be able to use a slower action up, that worming action, to keep yourself moving. And then with the deadlifts, if again it's heavy for you and you got to plan breaking up reps, you need to make sure that you plan when that will happen and how long will it be. How many sets are you going to break the set of 8 or the set of 9 or the set of 10 into, both on the way up and the way down? This will create a sense of urgency for you. At every time, for every athlete, it's going to hit the fan, right? And when I say it, you know what I mean. It's the pain, it's the dark place, it's discomfort. And fatigue makes cowards of us all. So it's important for you to have a plan so that then you can hold yourself accountable and have this conversation going on in your mind, or these mantras to, okay, 3 breaths, pick the bar up, it's only 3 more reps. Okay, 3 breaths, pick the bar up, it's only 3 reps. Or whatever it might be, you gotta have a plan or you're gonna be planning to fail. So make sure that you have something to execute on there, both on the way down and the way up. Of course, plan for success, meaning that you don't want to have a game plan of, well, I just hope I make it to 10s, and then all of a sudden you're deep in the suck on the way back down and you're into the round of 8s, right? So have a game plan, have some urgency, and understand where you potentially will be as the clock either runs out or how you plan to finish the workout. For those of you that are elites out there, this workout really begins when we start to hit the round of 8 on the upside, right? Meaning that you're probably going to be getting to that round of 9 or somewhere in the middle of that round of 9 at about the 3-minute mark. And that's where we're going to make that switch from anaerobic to aerobic. And it's really important for you to understand that it's going to be painful at that point. But at that point is when you have to hold on for dear life. For about the next 4 minutes, that's when your workout will be decided. And if you can just stick to the pace that you establish out the gate, you're going to have great success. Now, some tips and tricks here that I want to encourage you guys to do that might not commonly be talked about is consider that you need to start slower than faster. Now, we all understand that it's okay to not necessarily negatively split this workout, but it's important for you to understand that the burpee is a bit of a trap here. That's where you'll spend the vast majority of the time of this workout, but also it's where your heart rate's going to get spiked the highest. If you go back and you watch Justin Medeiros specifically, watch how from the first burpee on, he actually worms his way up, which means his chest comes off the ground first, his belly and his hips second, and then he lunges and steps into his jump. And he's pretty controlled and methodical out the gate. This sets him up for tremendous success in the latter part of the workout. While it's advantageous at times, and many people will be able to do this, is springing off the ground quickly and jumping over the bar quickly and getting to the next round, right? It's not a race to 10, folks. It's a race from 1 all the way up to 10 and back down to 1. Keep this in mind. Just because you can doesn't mean you should with speed. So if you can control yourself and warm up every burpee, it will control your heart rate and it will allow you to establish a pace that's often most repeatable for you as the rounds get thick. And we're talking thick rounds between 8 and 8. I believe that's where the workout is going to create the most separation between the elite, the cusp athletes, and the everyday athletes. So plan for that, control the pace of your burpees, and pay attention to the standards. While they've changed the standards, it's still not okay to step over the bar. Both feet must clear the bar around the same time. So you're not really going to get to change much. It's just that the standards have loosely adapted to the speed of often what we see for bar facing burpees anyway. So they've created a standard that they can stay tried and true to without saying, hey, this standard isn't working or no one's adhering to our standards because of the speed. So they give you some leeway with the 1 foot takeoff and 1 foot landing, but it still can't be a step or like a run over the bar. So keep that in mind. When it comes to repeatability, I don't know how many people are going to be able to repeat this within a 24-hour period, let alone a 36-hour period of doing it the first time if they do the full workout and do it hard. Look, while these deadlifts aren't heavy for the vast majority of the community, especially elite competitors, it is a movement that taxes the central nervous system. So in order for you to restore your central nervous system and the potential musculature soreness that you'll experience in the form of DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, you know how that hits like a day and a half after, it's likely going to be something that you're going to want to one and done. If you guys plan on repeating and there's no doubt about it, then what I want to encourage you to do is actually not do the full workout the first time. Think about only doing 2/3 of the workout. Save yourself a tremendous amount of contractions, but know what the feeling's going to be like when you get over that halfway mark. Once you hit 10 and you get through the set of 9, you're probably good to call it there, because of how minimal it will affect you. But those latter rounds are really going to start to add up in regards to soreness and fatigue. So if you plan on doing it twice, you might want to consider not doing it all the way through. Guys, cool down is a big deal here as well. And I want you to think about making sure that you spend 5 to 10 minutes on a bike, stretch your hip flexors in the form of a couch stretch, make sure that you're stretching your glutes and your hamstrings, sit down on the ground for many minutes intentionally and stretch those things out, because if you do want to repeat, it's going to be important. And if you don't want to repeat, you got training to do the next day. You got training to continue to progress you forward, especially if you're part of the True Fitness community here. We're eyeing up quarterfinals and getting ready for those and hopefully semis down the road. So best of luck to everyone who attacks 22.2. I hope that my thoughts and my mindset towards this workout have helped you in some way, shape, or form. Make sure that you, post your best Mike Tyson memes. I know they're all coming, right? Final.